Facebook? What is up, Anchor, Spotify, Station Head? How is everyone doing? I hope y'all are doing good. We had some big news happen earlier today where we found out that Empress of the Seas and Majesty of the Seas were sold by Royal, which shocked me and the world of cruising. Any passengers that were booked on those ships prior to them being sold will be offered a refund or cruise credit for different voyages on those ships. Please contact Royal or your travel agent for that. Today's topic is with my special guest, my best friend and co-worker from Norwegian Cruise Line, David. How you doing, David?
Hi, everybody.
Hey. So today is a big topic where we are actually talking about cruising during the pandemic. And with that, I'm going to give it over to David. David, how do you think cruising during this pandemic post-2020 is going to be?
Oh, well, we're almost at the end of 2020, but if we're going to 2021, is fortunately we got the vaccine going, so that vaccine is going to take a while for it to make the rounds. So the if everything starts going next year, they're gonna have to kind of do some strict protocols for passengers that go on cruises.
So what do you think those protocols are going to be? I mean, I saw an article about, possibly vaccines being required to cruise. From what I saw, a couple articles have said that. What do you think those articles are you think they're telling the truth, or you think they're just predicting, or what do you think?
I think probably for right now is prediction, but I mean, when take an example, Ebola. I remember my last couple contracts. We had to when we went to a ship, we had to sign a form saying that we didn't go to Africa, we didn't get exposed to Ebola yet, and all that stuff. So I guess with this COVID-19, it's a whole different ballgame. So they're gonna have to adopt what airlines are doing, that or at least most states are doing, or whatever the protocol is of. So in certain states, you have to before you fly to that state, you have to show proof that you were negative. So I think the cruise lines are gonna have to adopt something similar.
So what do you see the cruise lines adopting as far as social distancing, mask mandates, obviously? How do you see cruise lines adapting to the land-based protocols on board? Do you think the guests are gonna follow? Do you think they're gonna be no, I don't want to follow, or I don't want to do that, I don't want to wear a mask? How do you see these cruise lines? How do you see them possibly?
They're gonna have to. Well, people are gonna have to adapt. Most recently, there was a video, I don't know, of a passenger being, I think it was on Delta, that I saw about this passenger refusing to wear a mask, even though she said that when she got on the airplane, when she bought a ticket and was going on the airplane, that she would wear a mask, but she didn't. So the flight attendant called security, and security had to take her out of the airplane because she refused to wear a mask. So unless they have some doctor know that they can't wear a mask, or they have some breathing issue or whatever, they're gonna have to adopt something similar. So hey, if you don't if you don't um, show proof that you tested negative, you can't um, go on a cruise line because you're could be exposing everybody else to the virus.
Right. So
Especially if you don't want to wear a mask or you want to follow social distancing because it's been proven that the virus is airborne. The virus goes from person to person because of your breathing or because when you're talking, those droplets transmit to the other person.
right. Now with like the NBA successfully doing their COVID bubble over at Disney, and I think now they're coming back to the regular arenas and having a small like crowd of like 15 to 20% capacity in certain states, certain venues. Do you see cruising having a bubble? Maybe because I know a handful of them have their own private islands in the Bahamas. So do you see them possibly doing like, a bubble type, destination to where they have a control over the environment, or do you see them waiting till destinations open up to cruising to where they can just dump them off in like Bahamas or Jamaica or wherever like they were before COVID?
As far as bubble goes, I don't know how's that going to work. I mean, if they have their own private island, it might work, but I think they would have to adopt something like what Universal Studio and Disney World in Orlando are doing, kind of like limit the crowd, sanitizing everything once that crowd passes through. Have very strict protocols, and the same thing how movie studios are adapting to the virus. I saw recently on TV, live TV, a show called I think it's Your Honor on CBS, where I saw like last 10 minutes where the storyline was all about evolved around COVID-19, more or less COVID-19, but where you saw people maintaining their social distancing, wearing masks. They had shielding glass between the actors, most of the actors, and the extras were wearing masks. So I would think they will probably have to adopt something similar to that.
So do you think the bubble is gonna work if they were to control the environment of a private island, per se? Like, for instance, Royal owns, I think it's Coco Cay. So with that, they could possibly do cruises to Coco Cay, even though the Bahamas has the health visa as of right now before this vaccine gets to be publicized for the public. If the CDC grants Royal to be able to set sail before the vaccine hits the public, do you see Royal doing a bubble over in Coco Cay, or do you see them just kind of waiting for because I saw an article where Richard Fain said straight up, the vaccines are what's going to save the industry. Do you believe that's true? Because honestly, I feel like it's going to save the industry, but they're going to be waiting a while.
I think so too. It kind of like it depends on what the thought process is. So,
got you. Now, how do you see the public being receptive of a possible vaccine to travel?
If they want to travel, then they're gonna have to accept reality. They can't keep living in that self-imposed bubble.
All right, understandable. Now, as far as like on board the ship, protocols on board obviously are going to be mandatory mask, and also The
At
6 feet plexiglass at the restaurants. For crew members, do you see them possibly, getting extra trained and being quarantined longer than the 2 week, the 2 week recommended time, or how do you see the crew? Because a lot of crew are starting to return to certain ships. The ships are being recrewed as we speak. I got a friend that is in Singapore, I believe. She's on the Quantum. So how do you see the crew reacting to this?
Well, actually, speaking about bubble, I think it would work best with the crew being like in self-contained bubble as opposed to passengers. But as long as well, like anything else, it's gonna be like if you want to work there, you're gonna have to follow that rule. If they're open-minded, they're gonna follow the safety protocol by wearing masks in public, maintaining the social distancing, how they interact with the passengers.
All right. Now, a topic I kind of don't want to talk about, but with us electing Biden and everything, how hard do you think he's gonna hit the cruise industry? Because the cruise industry loved Trump, honestly. And now that
They
Biden,
love Trump.
a few of them voted for Trump. But anyway, I don't want to go there. So, how do you think the government's going to react to letting cruising return? Because I feel like, I honestly just feel like that the CDC is kind of holding this big, pendulum over the head of the cruise industry. People are still flying. I haven't heard COVID, being caught from people flying. Why do you think the CDC is kind of holding off, from letting cruising resume?
So politics, so no matter what. So we're gonna have to see what after December 20 what he does. So I think he already appointed CDC. So he says it's gonna follow Dr. Fauci and all the brass that are the health experts. So we'll see.
So what do you?
I think it's
too early.
It's too early.
Too early to tell. Understandable. Excuse me. What kind of excursions do you think would be offered? Because honestly, MSC did it over in Europe before they just recently shut down. What kind of excursions do you see being offered? Because I heard that they're doing excursions only that are through the cruise line. They're not doing third-party excursions anymore. They're only doing first or second. Well, not even second party. They're doing first-party excursions through the cruise line to kind of keep that bubble contained. Do you think that's gonna work? Because I feel it worked overseas. Do you think it's gonna work here on this side of the pond?
Possibly, if they see what works, they might adopt it.
Because I've read that article a couple months ago before the shutdown in Europe, that MSC kicked off a bunch of people for not following the rules about leaving the bubble for the tour. So
I think I saw something like that actually about how they got they drifted away from the group and went somewhere else.
Yep, and then they weren't allowed on board again. So, how do you think passengers are going to react to that kind of rule? Because obviously that's going to probably be put into place across the board. How do you think people are going to react to that kind of rule? Because honestly, for me, I understandable. You got to, you got to keep the people, in a bubble. How do you think the public is going to react to that kind of rule being put into place here in America versus overseas?
Well, you know how most Americans reacted to the state shutdown. They rebel. So who knows how well they're gonna react to the cruise line adopted the same way. Maybe they will rebel, but maybe they won't. For those that rebel, too bad, because they if they should like explain it if they're gonna open up and they're gonna allow passengers in. They should have those passengers sign like
a waiver.
A waiver, exactly. That they're not going to be responsible for whatever happens to you, because we specifically told you that you have to wear a mask, you have to social distancing, wash your hands, and all that jazz.
Gotcha. Now, oh boy. So honestly, I mean, even with the protocols in place, I still see people they're not following protocol. I still see it, you know. I mean, yeah, I forgot my mask a couple of times today. That was my fault. You know, it's human error. You forget your mask. But, you know, so now as far as the crew members go, how hard do you think they're going to have to be able to enforce the rules? I mean, it's hard enough for, you know, stores. They have a big sign out front. Mask. Wear your mask. And people, obviously, you know, it's human error. We forget, I guess we're tired of it. That's probably the truth. Okay, so how do you see crew members going to enforce these rules on board the ship?
They're gonna have, well, if they're international passengers, I don't think they're gonna have as much of a hard time as American passengers, unfortunately, as sad as it may sound, but that's the reality of it. What else can they do? I mean, they're gonna have.
They're gonna have their hands full with Americans. They're gonna have their hands full.
It's gonna be an uphill battle with Americans.
They're gonna have their hands full. That's my prediction.
That's for sure.
Now, from a passenger standpoint, when do you see cruising being resumed? I'm pretty sure you've heard cruises are being canceled out until June now, with certain lines. I know Cunard has a cruise in June, but another one of their ships had to cancel their June cruise. Cruise lines are up as far as May, even. How do you think the cancellations are going to continue, or are they going to hopefully slow down, or what do you see?
Hopefully slow down. So once this vaccine gets going, you know, and we'll probably know by April. I would say probably by April, Steve, this, you know, starts, you know, burn out.
Yeah, because these cancellations are kind of making everybody mad. So,
well, what you can do about it, I mean, it's for their own safety, for the employee safety. So, adapt. If we can't adapt, then too bad.
Yeah. I mean, we worked on Part of America. Thankfully, we didn't have a code red for norovirus. So, honestly,
we did have a code yellow one.
Yeah.
For the,
we had norovirus code yellow. It was interesting. I remember one night in room service, I had to deliver a special meal to somebody in quarantine that had the norovirus. And that was interesting because they can only have certain things, you know, because it's norovirus, you know, messes up your butt and your vomiting. So it's coming out both ways. It's not pretty. If you had it, you know it's not fun. Norovirus is not fun at all.
No. Fortunately, I never got it, so.
Me neither. Ugh, it's not fun. So,
do you know people that had it?
So,
do you know people who had it?
No, thankfully. I know one person on Pride of America. I know one person on POA, but it was thankfully I only saw them one time in quarantine when I had to take room service down to them. So that was the only person that I've had it. I've had people tell me stories about it. It's not fun. It comes out both ways. It comes out both ways. It's not fun. Oh man. Honestly, I don't know. But so last question: when do you see cruising resume? And do you see it coming back at full capacity, half capacity? And if it's full capacity, why do you see it at full? If not, why do you see it at half or less?
Well, I see maybe have them going slowly to full capacity, but once the experts from read the virus probably not going to be fully contained until like maybe 2022.
Really?
So it's going to take a very long while to like get everybody vaccine, and I think I read somewhere that it's probably going to take more than one vaccine to actually kind of like eradicate the virus. So probably they're gonna have to do like one step at a time, like 20%, then 30%, then 50%. If I see the full capacity, it's probably not gonna be like at the earliest 2022, maybe when the next winter passed, because as we know, winter kind of like makes it worse. So they're probably gonna have to see how it does in the winter, next winter, how it does before they go full capacity.
Got you. So you're saying by 2022, so late fall 2021 or winter, if at the earliest. But you're saying by late winter 2022 or spring 2022, that's when you
At
believe.
least the minimum, if they go full capacity, spring of 2022.
But half capacity starting out in like late 2021 at the most. Starting at like 20-30%.
Yeah.
Because I know Quantum holds about 4,000 passengers, and she only sets sail with like 1,600, 1,700, somewhere around there. So, that's not a lot of people. But it's still a lot, but it's not enough.
Anything, they're probably gonna have to look at other cruises like international, like Singapore is doing what Singapore is doing, what other like the Asian area is doing. So, because right now the only port call that's open is Singapore, right?
Singapore is the only departure port that I know of. They just had that scare. I don't know if you heard about that. they had a scare. An 86-year-old Singaporean resident hopped on board. He got tested. Antibody test came back positive. They turned around the ship, went back to port. He got tested again upon coming back into port, and he was negative on the antibody. So they had a scare. And honestly, Singapore's the only departure port that I know of that's trying to do cruises again at a small capacity. I think it's like 15 to 20% capacity. So if the ship holds like 4,000, it's only about 1,600, between 1,600 to 1,800 people. So it's still a lot of people in one space, but it's not enough to where it's running rampant around the ship. Thank God.
So if anything, these cruise lines are gonna have to look what Singapore is doing right now, and maybe grab some of whatever they're doing and just adapt it to like to this side of the pond. So
yeah, because Royal
see what is working, what's not working, and just
right.
do the pros and cons,
right,
and just fly it over here.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
Royal.
maybe do like a test run. Each cruise line do like a test run. See how it's for like maybe like 30 days. See how it does, and go from there.
Right. Well, to close it out, I mean, Royal is signing up people for test cruises. I'll link that description in the below if you want to sign up for a test cruise with Royal. Sadly, they're going by loyalty. They're starting at the top with Pinnacle and working their way down to gold level. So Royal is ahead of the game. I mean, they got Singapore, they got the test cruises being prepared for the U.S. So I'm just hoping they can succeed. And honestly, I see Royal as the first one to come back. That's just my opinion. To close it out, I see Royal being the first one. Carnival and Norwegian. So anyway, to close it out, man, I appreciate it, David. I really do. Appreciate you hopping on and giving your opinion on the industry as a whole, and seeing from a passenger standpoint and crew standpoint of how we could get through this pandemic. So
yeah.
Tomorrow's topic is about the EDM community and how they thrived in a pandemic. I'm working on a few things for that, so we'll see you guys tomorrow. Best of luck. Subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, have a good night.